Did I sleep for the whole day? Did I sleep for the whole month? It is said that Saint Helena the Hunter, who in her pilgrimage of vengeance managed to blind Joanna of the jagged jaw, slept for a whole month and was fed by trees who pierced her veins with the roots, pumping sap to nourish her. As our pilgrim wakes up, the darkness is shattered by a wave of light that spreads throughout the walls around him. The fireflies as if an army march in synchrony through cursed ground and broken ceiling. Before him, a statue of a saint, one he remembers, Nymphodora 9 Knots of the Theodikai, sister of the last matriarch Menodora the Martyr. Vestigial wings adorned her back, 4 eyes the color of spoiled milk holding a 9-foot-long prayer rope containing 9 knots. He kneels in respect to her, who once was an enemy, and lights a candle. The trials he faced made him stronger, more capable of facing the fierce fiends that tried to finish his pilgrimage. We roll another major blessing, and now we get to roll 1 attack per fight with advantage against the Yellow Coven. We also get more titles, so now we are a Bat Slayer and a Boar Tamer. Going forward, we also get +2 relics per row and we ascend, becoming an Archimandrite. This ascension allows us to choose a Charismata to be rolled with a d8 as our advantage die instead of a d6. He prays in silence. The fireflies dance as if a floating campfire. As in the refugee camps, the smiling child. Who was the child? Now, before every room, we roll against oppression with 2d6 plus d8, picking the highest 2. The pilgrim performs the prayer of knots, weaving with cobweb silk a new pouch to keep his beads, and with that we chain a spider soul for 6 relics. So, after the first failure of a fight, we get 1 attack with the 6 plus d8. We also put the skinless bead from the Yellow Coven back to its deck. He also performs the Prayer of Light, spending 17 out of his 25 relics to heal back to 25 LP. And we ask the fireflies to prophesy the new room ahead. They become agitated, circling him and entering his nostrils as if a stampede making him fall. He's filled with warmth, sun reflecting on lake water during high summers, choirs of bugs and birds praising life. The next room is cicadas singing silence. The apparition die will be increased by 1 level of success after room rolls to a maximum of d12. Before moving on, the pilgrim will prophesy which false prophets and beasts he will face. Once again, he dreams of swarms. Swarms of human beings, bodies piling on each other like anthills, piles of people on refugee camps huddled against each other, shivering, saving their last piece of molded bread, swarms of bodies washing ashore, swarms of ashes. He remembers stealing a piece of bread from a drunk old man back in the camp.
The old man won't miss it,
he said to himself. That night his tail started growing, rat-like. That's when the nightmares started. He prophesied a bat, a rat, and a wolf. Into the next room, we take the spider and boar souls, as well as the teeth and hive beads. As he is about to step forward, the fireflies stop him, blinking quickly as if screaming. There's no floor ahead, just a giant hole, yawning like a whale's mouth before a school of fish. He could swear constant whispers were coming from below, broken by the occasional scream, fading into the void. The statue of Nymphodora was holding an actual rope, easier than stealing bread from an old man. He goes down the hole and realizes it was sculpted not by the ammunition of siege engines, but by human hands. Black ichor is spilling from every crevice. Small alcoves lined the wall like hundreds of mouths drooling candle wax, holding small statues and reliquaries, withered heads, piles of teeth and fingernails. Visions came to him of the stones closing around his hands if he tried to reach for the relics, turning his forearm into a stolen tongue, into another relic. Inside the alcoves, hundreds of rats squeaked and scuttled, some of them falling silently, no sounds of their bodies hitting the floor, wherever the floor was. We roll against oppression and get a full success against apparitions and a partial success for the relic die. First turn, we roll a 1 on the search die. The pilgrim puts his hand inside an alcove, picking small finger bones, while rats take small bites out of his hand and the black ichor sticks to his forearm. 11 relics. He climbs farther down, manages to support himself on an alcove while pulling the rope down and tying it again, praying that the stone will hold his weight. The whispers are sounding louder and louder. He sees movement on one of the dozens of alcoves now above him. The fireflies for a moment illuminate strands of pale blonde hair retreating inside one of the nooks. Better keep moving. 2 more relics, and as he crosses one of the niches, he sees something shining against the light of the fireflies. He stood still a moment, held his breath, and felt his pupils dilating as he inched closer to inspect the source of the shimmer. Some part of his brain realized what he was seeing before his rational mind could. His skin was assaulted by goosebumps, his feathers bristled. The glow he saw was the firefly's light reflected on corneas. He froze. To keep human eyes as relics was weird enough. And then they blinked. He had been staring at a human face, one who had been staring back at him. The pilgrim thinks of proceeding when he feels 5 cold fingers wrap around his ankle like a snake around a mouse, cold like grave dirt.
Cold like the night after the Theodicai siege. All refugee tents were occupied. He fell asleep over a puddle of water, all soaking because of the merciless rain. He didn't die of hypothermia. How?
We are stricken by isolation. Beasts heal -2 LP. He almost falls, the hand retreats and the eyes disappear as the walls around him start to shake, rumbling as if the belly of a hungry beast. The black ichor starts raining alongside bones and rats. He grabs some of the bones, 11 of them, and tries to find some protection as the falling rats pelt him. He hears something flapping fleshy wings in the dark above. He smells rotten fish as flying towards him comes a lion-sized bat, skin completely flayed and covered in seashells and corals. The face of the thing is almost human, and it vomits rats and insects all over the pilgrim. A hive-deep skinless bat. 21 LP plus 3 damage. The bat adds only half its total LP because we are a bat slayer. We use the boar soul to heal up to 29 LP since isolation reduces by 2 the beast's healing. Standing before the apparition, the pilgrim's eyes roll to the back of his head as he, for the first time in his pilgrimage, will demand lower spirits to come to his aid. We use our hive bead to summon 2 hanged false prophets, adding a total of +4 damage to our attacks. We scream psalms at the thing who is grabbed by gallows ropes, falling out from the dark above us, taut on the apparition's wings, while the swarm of fireflies strikes the backward screaming thing mid-flight. We hit for a total of 12 LP. We roll another full success. The firefly swarm forces itself inside the mouth of the thing, while the gallows ropes strangle it. It falls as the swarm forces itself out of its belly, and its body becomes ashes before being devoured by the starving darkness below the pilgrim. But now, the gallows ropes start caressing the pilgrim's neck. We roll to control the summon, 2d6 plus wisdom, and we have to roll their total LP, so 8 or more. We succeed. The restless ropes coil around the pilgrim's chest like pythons on tree branches, hissing like angry cats. We decide not to bind any cards, and so the pilgrim keeps moving down. Turn 5, we have to survive till the end of turn 6 to consider this room fully explored. The pilgrim, beneath the ichor and rat rain that keeps pelting him, manages to find 7 more relics. Another turn, and all 3 dice will be triggered. First, we gather 12 more relics, more bones that keep falling on us. The pilgrim, trying to find a momentary shelter and taking a moment to catch his breath, looks up and notices that the rats are not falling. They are jumping out of the alcoves, running towards the edge, their squeaking sometimes becoming a human voice shouting blasphemies, sometimes a voice weeping and sobbing, some of them biting while falling, others trying to grab onto the pilgrims' legs to avoid their fall. And then, walking down the wall, a chimera, made out of hundreds of rats and human bones, marches towards us. The whole thing fused together, thousands of silvery needles holding their bodies in the shape of one giant rat. We found an apparition, a pierced deep rat. 22 LP plus 1 damage. We attack with grace, a +0. May Saint Helena the Hunter help us. We command the gallows ropes to fly upward along the swarm, tearing the needles and breaking some of the bones. Full success, we deal 10 damage to the thing, but it never stopped marching. It takes a deep breath and screams.
Thief!
The walls start shaking and crumbling. The screaming was so loud that even the swarm dissipates and the pilgrim falls. We roll a failure. We take 6 points of damage, and by the end of the fight, we will roll against possession with a d6 plus d4 instead of 2d6. As the pilgrim is falling, he manages to call upon his spider and owl souls. He spits web on the walls and manages to hold on to them. Then, he jumps like a wandering spider towards the rat-shaped chimera. Due to the spider soul, we get an attack with d6 plus d8 instead of 2d6. Full success. 10 total damage. The pilgrim grows a pair of chelicerae, piercing the roof of his mouth that he uses to bite the thing's neck, and along with the fireflies grabbing onto the back of the thing, he starts digging through the needles, ripping them off along with the screaming rats that shape the thing's organs and bones. The needles pierce the pilgrim's hands as the thing screams.
Thief! Nothing but a crow, nothing but a rodent, nothing but a crow, nothing but a rodent. They starved and born because of you, because of you.
We roll another failure, 5 points of damage. We are down to 16 LP as the screaming of the beast makes the pilgrim fall. He tries to grab onto the walls and alcoves, but always crumbling, always falling down, and he falls on a puddle of water. Small hands shaking him, waking him up from a nightmare where rats with human faces accused him of unforgivable crimes. A child, she drags him towards a bonfire. She hasn't seen food in days, her bones almost piercing her skin. Her parents died, and every time she found food, someone took it from her. She thought he would die, so she dragged him towards the fire. She could have waited for him to pass and then taken his piece of bread, the one he stole from the drunk man. But she didn't. When she fell asleep, he left the piece of bread to her. The fire started breaking into particles that blinked, guiding him. His hunger was so great he felt his belly could touch his spine that ached with the weight of wings. Spread, giant, owl-like. He wakes up and flies upwards screaming, fireflies flanking him as the dungeon falls, stone and rubble and bones striking his wings, and just as the thing is about to scream another blasphemy, the pilgrim, now as brave as an orphan child in a refugee camp, grabs the thing with his talons, a raptor and a rodent. The pilgrim and the apparition fall, and during the fall talons and chelicerae keep on tearing, flaying and mutilating. Partial success. We take 4 points of damage, but the thing is dead. We will have to roll against possession, d6 plus d4, and we roll a 7, a partial success. A rat-like tail grows on the pilgrim mid-fall. Now every time we roll a failure against an apparition, we will roll against possession with d6 plus d4 instead of 2d6. Still falling and tearing apart what is left of the giant rat, he prays as the fireflies manage to bring to the pilgrim small bunches of the needles that held the thing together. We bind both pierced false prophets. We resolve the affliction triggered before our fight, its drunkenness. Nothing new, as his wings shrink and his body meets the ground.